the value of being a mom, being able to stay at home. I didn't place the value that it deserved.
You remember my counsel to you?
No.
You don't?
I do. I think I do. What did you say?
Tell them to shut up and mind their business.
It's important that he's involved, even though she's the main caregiver.
Totally agree. You looked at me and said, oh, I really miss him.
I know you. Yes.
I didn't know what you were talking about. I was like, miss who? Parenting without losing your partnership. The purpose of our show today, Teresa, is to help couples prioritize their relationship while navigating the demands of parenting, showing how a strong couple bond supports the whole family. Welcome to Marriage with Jim and Teresa. My name is Jim. I'm joined in studio by my co-host, my wife of the last 40 years, the mother of our 4 children, Teresa the therapist. Hey, Teresa.
Hey, Jim.
So, Teresa, help set the stage for what we're going to talk about today.
You're not just co-parents, you're partners, and your relationship still matters.
Hey, Teresa, this is one of my favorite topics to talk about. You know why?
Why?
Because it's also one of the most difficult, frustrating things that I've ever done as a couple. I don't know if I'm speaking for you or not.
Yes, I guess you could say parenting can be difficult, but it was also wonderful.
Matter of fact, I guess I should help set the scene by sharing this. We have 4 amazing children.
Yes.
Obviously, we have adult children now, but just amazing children. We had the privilege of sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ with all of our kids while they were young in our home. So we introduced them into that life-changing relationship with Christ. And then they've gone on to do some amazing, amazing things. And I feel like I need to say this because when I talk about parenting, I don't want people to misunderstand, do they have children? What are their children doing? How were they as parents? I think you were an amazing parent.
You as well.
Thank you. So I just feel like I need to set that scene. Do we want to tell any more about our children to kind of help set the scene?
Well, I guess we can do that all the way through. We'll have examples and everything.
Now, here's the other part of this episode in terms of why we're wearing the matching jerseys. So I played college football. It's it's how I paid for college. And there's no other point in a marriage where I can think of, you tell me if you think of another one, where it's more important that you be on the same team. So I want to wear these jerseys to symbolize the importance of you as a couple when you're parenting, well, in general, but especially when you're parenting, being on the same team. Okay, so Teresa, help us continue to set the stage.
So parenting pulls attention and energy away from the couple bond, our connectiveness.
Okay.
So that's what we're going to continue on and explore a little bit more.
But parenting is super, super important. So emphasize that a little bit.
It's very important. It's one of the most meaningful callings that God has given us. He said those little people that we have, he's given us our gifts.
And at the same time, it often places a significant strain on the marital relationship.
It does.
Many couples aren't prepared. Were we prepared? I don't think we were. For how radically the arrival and ongoing demands of children can shift priorities, drain emotional reserves, and reshape daily dynamics. So that's why I wanted to set the stage. We have 4 children. We talked about having 6. We talked about having a larger family. We love children. We love our children. Having said that, we want to share how difficult this can be, so you are very intentional as you're preparing to parent. Absolutely. You guys have to be on the same page. We just did a parenting conference at our church. Shout out Eastern Star Church in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
We just did a parenting conference, a week-long conference. Every evening we taught on parenting. And here's what I told the group that I'm going to share with you. Teresa and I have been through some really difficult times in our marriage. We lost everything. When I say that we lost our home, we lost our cars, we filed
Financial difficulties.
Financial difficulties. We've been through some difficult times. We've had some health challenges. We've had a lot of stuff to challenge us in our life. This is the hardest thing we've ever done. So you understand what I'm saying? Jim, you said you lost your home in foreclosure. You filed bankruptcy. Yeah, this is harder than that. That's the, I guess, this way I want to set the stage for what we're about to talk about.
Okay.
You think you want to add?
Well, no, I think it is hard, but like I say, it's also a rewarding and
It's worth
also beautiful.
It's worth it.
To have the little kids and everything. So it's lovely. And the hard part gets better. So give them hope.
Yeah, I do want to give you hope. And then I don't know if we're going to talk about it in more depth later, but I'll just set the stage by saying one of the reasons it's hard, or so hard, especially for us, is because it also kind of highlights the differences between the natural God-created differences between men and women. Yeah. Men and women are different, and that shows up in parenting. Some of the things that I thought were appropriate and I thought were in the best interest, oftentimes you didn't agree, and vice versa. So it was so difficult because it highlighted and drew attention to the natural differences between the two of us.
Absolutely. That's why the team is important.
We talked about kind of how children can divert focus.
They can.
Because they demand constant care, because they're basically selfish. Do you disagree?
Oh, absolutely not. They come here.
You come here like that.
Yeah, just
you
like give me my bottle.
Yeah, I came here like that. Hopefully,
change my diaper.
That's exactly right.
Yeah,
it's all me. It's all about them.
It's all about them. That's right.
So you have to have a very intentional plan to protect this bond.
Absolutely. Once again, you said that word, intentional.
Let me sum up kind of how we explain to the kids how they fit into the hierarchy, because we saw them being manipulative. We saw them being selfish. We saw them being children, right?
Yeah.
So they weren't bad kids by any means. They were just kids. So here's a conversation.
Trying to assert themselves as human beings.
But they would do things that would undermine, or not intentionally. I mean, I'm talking about it 4, 5, 6, 10, just all the while. They would do things, not like they sit down with some master plan to undermine their mom and dad's relationship, but they would do things that would just test the relationship. So here's how I explain to the kids. Now, I already explained how important our kids are to us, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I feel like I've already made the appropriate disclaimer for what I'm about to share. Here's how I explain to our children how they fit into the hierarchy in our house. I sit them down one day, and I was big on family meetings. I'll call a family meeting in a minute, right? Mm-hmm. So I sit down one day, I say, hey, guys, let me explain to you how this works here. See, this is me right here. See, right here? This is my hands to me. See, this is your mom. Okay, now this is y'all. And like, you can't see my hand probably going all the way down to the floor, but this is us, and this is y'all. You'll never ascend to this level. It's always going to be us and then you. Mm-hmm. Now, why don't you like that, Teresa?
I don't know.
I think it's harsh.
Yeah, it just kind of like put them down a little bit, and
put them down where they belong.
They're in the hierarchy of how God has designed things. They are not to usurp this bond.
Hey guys,
this unit bond.
Here's the thing. As the coach of this team, sometimes you gotta be a little harsh. Sometimes you gotta say things that people may not want to hear, but they need to hear. We ought to bring the kids on the show. I wonder how that landed on them. Maybe they've been scarred for life. I wonder how that reality check kind of landed on them, but I was trying to make a point. So children can divert your focus.
Mm-hmm. The emotional and physical, they can be totally exhausting.
Exactly. It's a full-time job. And to that point,
especially in the early years, they are demanding.
To that point, Teresa was so kind. So in our 40 years of marriage, the first, those formative years, it was very crucial, in our opinion, for our marriage. I'm not saying this is something everybody should do, but since parenting is so demanding, since it's so time crucial, mm-hmm. we agreed that you were going to be a stay-at-home mom.
Yes.
So as the children, we started out with twins. Mm-hmm. Then 5 years later, we had child number 3. Then 16 months later, we had child number 4. And as I mentioned, we at one point it talked about, hey, we'd love to have 6 children. Already have the names picked out.
Yeah.
But the pregnancies got so increasingly difficult for you. It just got to be really hard for me to see you go through that time after time. Were you wanting to have more children, or what were you thinking?
At the time, I wasn't thinking, really. I was already engulfed in taking care of the kids. But no, it would have been. It's just like when a person is pregnant and they're going through the pregnancy and everything, they'll say they'll never do this again. But once all the pain and all that part goes away, then they're ready to do it again. So yes, I probably would have been ready to do it again. Absolutely.
Then the other mistake we made in terms of why we don't have a larger family is that our youngest child is 33, but I remember like it was yesterday when I waited too long to try to expand our family. I literally woke up one Sunday morning getting ready for church, and I said to all the kids, hey guys, go get in the van, because if you got 6 of y'all, you ain't driving a Honda Accord. You're driving a full-size van.
That's right.
So I said, hey guys, go get in the van. We're getting ready for church. I walked to the foyer to go outside. You know what I saw, Teresa?
What?
Everybody was in the van.
That's right.
And at that point, I don't know if this is resonating with you, unless you're getting car seats and diaper bags and all the to-goes ready. But at that point, I was like, oh my gosh. Everybody is actually in the van waiting on me to get in there to leave for church. I don't think I can go back. And that's where I waited too long. And we even thought about adopting children. You know, I'm an adopted child.
Yeah, you did. We did think about that.
But anyway, let's talk about the whole thing about parenting and
how it can be exhausting, how it can divert your focus. But yeah, and then let's look at it as let's look at it from the biblical, kind of a biblical insight here.
Okay. So what do you want to say about that? We know children are a blessing from the Lord.
Right. That's what
blessed is the man whose quiver is full of them.
So it is a blessing to have children. And yes, they can be, I'm going to say trying. However, like you say, it's a gift from God, and God has help us understand what that gift looks like. I guess now you can see it better as they are getting older. Another thing I guess we could look at is how our identity shifts, and sometimes some resentment can come in because new parents can experience identity loss. Let's just say I'm just a mom.
Did you deal with that?
I did. I kind of, yes, because I had gone to college and got my degree and everything, and I thought, I should be out there working. I should be out there doing things, and it's just like I didn't place the value of being a mom, being able to stay at home. I didn't place the value that it deserved, but I understood later how it was such a blessing, and that God had given me that, and that was wonderful.
You are reminding me of some stories now. I do remember you struggled with that because here's some stories I'm now remembering. 40 years ago, a stay-at-home mom wasn't that common, especially for women of color.
Correct.
So you were a bit of an anomaly. So we changed cities, found a new church, and I remember you would come to me because some people at church would ask you questions like, why are you staying at home having all these kids?
Yes, that's right.
You remember my counsel to you?
No.
You don't?
I do. I think I do. What did you say?
Tell them to shut up and mind their business. Now then you said something else. In other words, you didn't follow my instructions.
I didn't say it like that.
Yeah, you didn't follow my instructions. But that's a whole nother conversation about back to your self-worth. It's because you're constantly bombarded with, oh, do you work? And so I was always very careful to say, Teresa doesn't work outside the home because she has such an important responsibility and a full-time job already. Or people say, oh, you're, like you said, you're just a mom. This is the most important job in the world.
Absolutely.
So she's a mom, and that's the most important job.
Right. You're formulating little lives.
You're building people.
Yeah. You're getting to see all the little. Oh, it's just an absolutely beautiful thing. But I didn't see that at first. Right. I didn't see that at first. I kind of pushed against it. However, I am, as I look back now, it's been a blessing.
One of the interesting things, though, Teresa, that I want our audience to understand, let me set the stage. I felt like Almighty God said to me, hey, Jim, this is how I want you to structure your family. I felt like I was following God's lead. When I said to you, even in our 4 years of dating before we got married, hey, Teresa, and I didn't say it in a way where like, I want you to stay at home. I said it because I wanted it to be your idea where you didn't feel any pressure from me. So I would just ask questions, but I had a very, very clear intent, a very, very clear purpose of what I wanted to happen. Now, let me tell you how I believe God honored us listening to what he called us to do. Before the phrase was even a phrase, Teresa was a mamapreneur. So she started various businesses from our home because there's the thing, we want to have nice stuff. We want to travel. And so there's 4 kids, there's 6 of us, one person supporting all that's a lot. So it's, and that's the decision a lot of couples aren't comfortable with, because we made this decision when it was just the 2 of us. You're pregnant with twins, and we're deciding then this is gonna be our path.
Right.
And we were in a little 1-bedroom apartment with not even any furniture.
That's right.
But we made that commitment then. Now, the way the Lord honored that commitment and blessed that promise, there were times that your entrepreneurial endeavors earned as much money as I was earning getting up and going to work 40, 50, 60 hours a week. So to me, that's kind of how God blessed that. Do we want to go into kind of what some of those things were? Or, obviously this is a thing about parenting, but you did a number of home-based businesses. You sold jewelry.
I did.
You had a home-based business selling jewelry through parties and through shows.
Right. I sold crystal.
You sold crystal. What else did you do?
I was an insurance agent.
You were an insurance agent and built a very successful agency. You qualified for trips.
Sure did. Yeah.
I'm talking about an agency where you earned hundreds of thousands of dollars a year.
And I still earn residual this day.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
That is amazing.
I just got the check the other day.
By the way, in terms of, this is a parenting episode, but we're going to talk about leadership. We're going to talk about coaching. This was something Teresa didn't want to do.
I did not want to do that.
I said, hey, Teresa.
I had just had a baby and I was exhausted.
I said, hey, Teresa.
No. I had just had babies and I was exhausted.
I said, I see an opportunity for us if you will go do this. I don't want to go get my insurance license.
Did you know how big the book was that thick?
That's beside the point. I don't want to go get my insurance license. Hey, Teresa, here's what I need you to do. And you resisted and resisted. But you know what I did? I persisted and I persisted. And now here we are today. You're welcome.
Well, thank you, dear.
You're welcome.
Okay.
But the point I'm making is if you believe this is the direction God's calling you for your family, if it's truly God calling you, and I'm not saying you're going to be extremely wealthy or you're going to like make a whole lot of money or whatever, but I am saying God honors your faithfulness.
He does.
And
even when we're not faithful, he's faithful. While the insurance was your idea, some of the other things were my idea, and I enjoyed it. It was something that I was building, and I got really up for got to a designer in the company, and. Really
you were very
that.
successful.
Absolutely, very successful. I know that a lot of couples struggle with roles and responsibilities, but we kind of worked through that. And you had certain things, and I had certain things, and we pulled together as a team.
Same team, same jersey.
That's right.
Same team, same jersey.
Yeah.
Well, even though our jerseys aren't exactly identical,
right?
But the idea, conceptually, we're on the same page.
And so I encourage couples, to pull together what works best for your home is what's going to be important.
Now, here's something else that's important. Even though you were the stay-at-home mom, by the grace of God, I realized just how big of a job it was, how important of a job it was. So I didn't abandon all other responsibilities. Correct. So I was very intentional. It's my favorite word.
That's your favorite word.
I was very intentional.
And you were.
Hey, Teresa, you've been home week after week with the children. Hey, today I'm going to stay home and you take a day. Go do whatever you do. Spa, hair, nails, whatever. It's your day. I don't even know what you're doing. What did you do? Did you ever tell me?
Usually I went out to lunch with friends, or we went to the mall to just browse, or we maybe went to the movies.
Okay, so that was also important because you made. Is it fair to say you made a sacrifice? I mean, you were certainly capable, qualified to work somewhere else,
Oh, absolutely.
but you made a sacrifice for the good of our family, and I wanted to honor that sacrifice. So our roles were balanced, even though you were the primary caregiver, homemaker. I didn't just abdicate all of the responsibilities. And there were so many.
And that's so important because I don't want couples to think that just because I'm outside of the home that I don't have home chores or duties there, because that is so important that we work together to take care of whatever is needed in the home.
And the thing about me staying at home, obviously not every day like you did, but it grounded me in just how big of a responsibility this is.
Yeah, you got the little personalities. You got to deal with
It's a
every day.
lot. It's
is.
a lot, you know. And I remember some of the stories about, hey, Dad, you're not doing it like Mom. That's not how Mom does it. I mean, it was fascinating. It was fascinating. So couples must give one another permission and encouragement to be both parents and partners. And I'm leaning heavy on, because here's what I'm saying, guys. It's hard to have, tell me if you think this is possible. Is it possible to be great parents if you're not great couples, if you're not a great husband and wife?
It would be very difficult.
So maybe it's possible, but it's not probable.
Oh, I like the word.
Yeah, maybe possible, but not probable. So that's why we always focused on our relationship first. I hope that doesn't sound selfish, but really, I didn't articulate it well to the kids, but I was really saying this. In order to make you whole, you know that I think it's a Chinese proverb, in the broken nest there are no whole eggs.
Yes.
So in order to make you guys the very best that you need to be, your mom and I have got to be the very best that we can be. So sometimes that may come off to you like, Sylvia, be quiet. Mm-hmm. That's kind of harsh, isn't it?
Yeah, that is kind of harsh. You say it a little bit differently, but
neglected couple time leads to emotional drift.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that key? Why is that crucial? Why is that key?
Well, if you don't take care without, I guess, intentional connection, emotional distance grows slowly, and then sometimes becomes silent.
Okay, so what I hear you saying is you could drift apart and not even know that you've drifted apart.
Exactly. What began as just a busy season can become a long-term pattern and of disconnection.
And you know what? It's so easy. It's so easy to do because, you know, one of the ways that Satan works to divide us is substituting good for great. So he doesn't always try to tempt us with bad things. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's like, here's a good thing, but that's standing in the way of a great thing. So let me put it like this. It's an amazing thing to nurture and care for and grow your children.
Yes.
Make them into little image bearers of Christ. Now, not like y'all, not image bearers of you, but image bearers of Christ. Ultimately, I'm not trying to create people that look just like me.
Exactly.
I'm trying to create people that look just like Jesus. So oftentimes if you're not careful, you'll be so distracted. Hey, I can't spend time with my wife. I can't spend time with my husband because I'm so busy being a parent. And I know there are seasons when that happens, but that should be the exception, not the rule.
Right. Even when at the beginning, let's just say the mother is nursing or something at the beginning, they've had the babies, the mother's nursing. She's the primary, I guess, giving the baby the breast.
Caregiver.
Right. However, it is also important that she brings him in on that. Bring the man in on just maybe skin to skin touching, you know, for the baby to connect with him. And she could pump also and then give him the bottle to help. It's important that he's involved, even though she's the main caregiver.
Totally agree. Many couples feel more like roommates than teammates or lovers. So often you just, when in the season when the kids are demanding so much attention, it's like me and my wife are just kind of living together. We're just roommates. And we even forget that we're teammates. And we're even more than that. We're actually lovers. So talk about that a little bit, Teresa.
So over time, life demands a lot.
Okay.
The children, let's say, the work, bills. Sometimes people are in ministry and you get into this kind of routine. So you can casually shift to a couple relationship from a romantic kind of relationship to just functioning partnership.
Okay.
And that's just surviving, living. not growing and enhancing your relationship. They just manage the home. They have divided responsibilities. It's just that grind, and we don't want to do that. But the intimacy, the passion, the emotional connection that wants to find their relationship, it kind of begins to fade. And we really don't want that to happen.
Let me give you a real example about being intentional and about how busyness can mess up this relationship, which messes up the whole family. So do you remember the story, Teresa? At one point, you were a stay-at-home mom, and I don't know what was behind this. Maybe you'll speak to this, but you were involved in everything. You were in the church choir. Hey, I'm all in favor of that. You were part of the prison ministry.
I was.
Hey, I'm all in favor of that. What else were you doing?
Just the WMU or
women's. Various organizations. So I came to you one day and we had this conversation. And guys, this is a lesson as I'm attempting to lead this family, as I'm attempting to coach this family. I'm leading my family as I'm being led by Almighty God. So the Lord spoke to me with some things which I came and shared with you. I said, "Hey, Teresa, you're doing too much."
I was.
And you said to me, "Are you saying that being in the choir and the children and the prison ministry and whatever, you worked in the nursery?"
I sure did.
You work in the nursery? Are you saying that these all aren't good things? I said, no, I'm not saying these aren't good things at all. But what I am saying is your primary responsibility, our primary responsibility is to our home and these children. And at this season, this is just not the time to do that.
Right. I had one of my friends told me to go home.
Yeah, you were doing too much. You're doing too much. So my point, she's doing good stuff, but it's standing in the way of us doing great stuff, which is being great parents to nurture and grow and raise great human beings.
Right, absolutely, and to keep that bond together as parents.
Well, let's talk about the roommate dynamic. So in this dynamic, couples share the same space, but not the same emotional or physical closeness. Basically, it's a couple coexisting peacefully or passively, but the relationship becomes more about convenience than connection. Well, what are some signs of that?
So some of the signs is there's no physical attention.
Okay.
There's conversations are limited to like, did you pay that bill, or did you take out this or do that? Separate interests, separate routines. There's nothing going on where they're being united. A lack of emotional vulnerability or laughter. And laughter is a big thing. And we need to be able to laugh and enjoy each other's company. And if you're not doing that, I'm thinking, what is happening under the surface?
Yeah. And then, there's just so many things that happens when we're functioning as roommates and we don't protect our relationship. Then, and we talk about same jersey, same team, but let's talk about some things you want to be careful with the teammate dynamic. But there's some things like we just make decisions together, but we rarely date each other. That's not good.
No.
Conflict is, will you take that?
Well, conflict is managed, but not deeply resolved or healed, so it's still hanging out there causing a problem or causing some kind of feeling that's not good.
And what else? What about affection?
Feels like an afterthought, not a priority.
Okay, so these teammates are, when you're just teammates, but not teammates and lovers, you're great co-parents or life partners, but you're not emotionally or sexually connected.
Yeah.
Now, how does that happen gradually? And I guess we should label this warning signs for parents.
Yeah.
Parents beware, because again, we encourage parents. We encourage having children for those couples who are able to, and for those couples who can't, we encourage adoption. But what are some warning signs, kind of how this happens gradually? So
children and careers demand constant focus, and physical exhaustion and the stress that we talked about diminishes an energy to be romantic, or to have that romance feeling. Hurt feelings and unresolved tension, which I said had to be something, if there's something out there hanging out there, they go unaddressed. And so they continue to build. And anything that's that's negative and it starts to build, it causes a major problem eventually.
And then you mentioned that intentional connection takes a backseat to getting things done.
Yeah.
So the cost of staying in roommate or teammate mode, the negative side of that, because we are in the same team, emotional intimacy weakens.
Desire and passion phase, which we mentioned that a little bit earlier.
Resentment or loneliness grows.
And let's talk about that because, that's a big word today.
Which one?
Loneliness.
Oh, okay.
And you can be lonely in your own relationship. And that's when I know that you guys are not spending time together. You're not, you don't have that connection. There's not enough physical touch or emotional attention.
Okay. Vulnerability feels unsafe or irrelevant.
So there's something there that has caused that to be sticking out there. So we have to clear all of that up before we can get to a better place, to rebuild, to get ready to rebuild that connection, that romance. And that's what we want to do.
And then you have couples going eventually like, what happened to us?
Yeah.
What happened to us? Okay, that's cool.
Right,
That's cool.
right.
How do we rebuild romance and connection?
So as I was just saying, we want to try to do that by, I was listening to a guy the other day, matter of fact, on Hallmark, and he was saying
Wait a minute. Can anything good come out of Hallmark? Oh, wait a minute. That was Nazareth, wasn't it? Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But anyway, return your curiosity. And I said, that's great. So, you start, how when we start dating, you ask like open-ended questions, like,
because we're trying,
trying to
get to know you. Yeah.
So we need to keep those going, about maybe
Hey,
something.
by the way, I'm sorry. I was joking about Hallmark. I was joking about Hallmark. I was kidding. Okay, keep going.
Okay. But anyway, so return to curiosity.
Okay.
That's a good place to start. Start spending that time together and talking open and giving each other time to express. Reclaim intentional touch. So, do that touch, be intentional about it. Giving a hug, giving a kiss. That's so important.
Now, let me add, not only is that important to your relationship,
but it's good for the kids to see.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go.
The
That's
kids
super
need
important.
to see.
That's exactly right.
There was a study years ago, and I don't know where it was, but it was like a child know that there's conflict or a problem at the age of 3 if between their parents. Did you know that? They can sense it.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. He's aware of it. So you've seen children, they'll say, come on, Mom, come on, Dad, hold hands. Something like that.
Yeah.
Because they see something isn't quite right here, and I don't like it.
Okay, now I think it's important to mention here that I think, you tell me if you're going to agree with this, I think it's good for your children to see healthy conflict and the resolution. Because the whole idea, I never saw my parents argue.
Yeah.
Now you're in a relationship, your child's in a relationship, they're married, they're having conflict, and they're going like, this ain't right because my parents never argued. They've been married 50 years, never saw them argue. So I think it's good as long as your conflict is healthy. Now, if your conflict involves a lot of things that we teach not to do in conflict, yelling, screaming, name calling, bad language, and whatever. But if your conflict is healthy, I think it's good for your children to see that. And then it's also good, even if you don't resolve on the spot, it's good to come back and say to them, we did resolve. I remember something from our relationship early on to the point that you're talking about when you and I would have a disagreement. And I could tell, because again, it wasn't like we went into a separate room. It was like if we had a disagreement, because we ain't yelling and screaming, it was in front of the kids, right? And it was not what I thought was unhealthy.
Right.
But to your point about kids, that I could see that they were negatively impacted by that disagreement we had. So I remember one day I sat them down and I said, guys, let me just go over something with you. So going forward, you're clear on this. Your mom and I, this ain't going anywhere. Your mom and I are going to always be together. There's never a chance, there's never a time when your mom and I are not going to be together. And again, I don't remember their ages, and I don't even remember if the kids will remember this, but as I remember it, from that time forward, the disagreements had a different kind of way of landing on them with that assurance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
I don't know if I ever tell you the story.
No,
about
I
it.
don't think you've ever told me that story.
Yeah. So, all right. So reclaim intentional touch. You talked about that. Schedule sacred time. Oh my gosh. Schedule sacred time.
Not just dates.
Yeah. Yeah. Now here's.
But just time to be together.
Here was my
engaging.
Here was my experience, and maybe this was just us. I don't know if this is generally speaking or not. That was harder for you to do than me.
Because I was always doing something.
So do you think, generally speaking, it's harder for women to do than men?
I would say sometimes yes.
You know, it's like
but now I think we need it, but sometimes we don't stop. But we do need it.
Here's what I remember. I wish I could remember the details. You and I were sitting on an airplane. Kids were small. I can't remember if we had 2, 3 or 4. But it might have been just the twins.
Okay.
And we were sitting on an airplane getting ready to go somewhere. You looked at me, and this may be the first break we had in ever, right? And you looked at me and said, "Oh, I really miss them."
I know you. Yes.
I didn't know what you were talking about. I was like, "Miss who?" And I wasn't trying to be funny. I didn't know who you were talking about, but you were talking about the kids.
Yes.
So I'm going like, this is the first break we had in 6 months. A year, whatever. Not only do I not miss them, I don't remember who you're talking about.
It was 2 years.
They were
2.
Okay, you remember?
And we were going to Scottsdale.
Okay, okay.
Yes, I did. And I did say I missed them because I hadn't been without them in those 2 years. Not on a trip or anything. We had done, maybe a date or something, but we hadn't been anywhere.
So how does a husband, and I'm sure most husbands are more tactful than I am. How should I have tried to understand your concern and not be dismissive?
Okay.
But at the same time, making you know how important this is for this time away. How should I have better handled it? Because my response was, what is she even talking about? So what would be the better way to handle it?
You could have said, sweetheart, I know you miss the kids. I know you miss the kids, but it's okay. You need time away as well. We need time together, so let's enjoy our time together. Something like that, But
Wow.
yeah, just acknowledge that my feelings and then just say.
Because I was thinking, I don't know if I said this, but I was thinking, she's talking crazy. That's what I was thinking. So when you talk, I don't think I said that. Maybe I did. Sometimes I can't separate what I'm thinking and what I'm saying. But anyway,
I like this next one. Play around, have fun, laughter.
Okay.
Sometimes you'll say, "Oh, you're so cute. I really like that you have on," or something like that. Those type things, kind of joking, sharing some hobbies or something if y'all want to. I don't know, what kind of hobbies do we share besides travel, walking?
Yeah, travel, walking, the gym.
Yeah.
Going out to dinner.
Yeah, because you don't necessarily like the flowers or anything.
No. Oh my gosh! And then your Christmas present is a mistake I made by getting you the bird feeder with the camera.
Yeah.
So I'm not engrossed in bird life like you are. That's.
I think that's so. They're so pretty.
I knew you would enjoy that gift. I'm not sure I knew how much you would enjoy the gift.
Oh, it's just been fantastic.
Anyway, so invite vulnerability, share fears, dreams, and struggles regularly.
And those things, when you do share those things, it brings you closer and it helps you understand how she might respond in a way. And you think, why is she responding like that? But if you've shared some of those vulnerable places or whatever, then I can see why she's thinking that right now. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
Right.
Pray together. Spiritual intimacy reignites emotional and physical intimacy. Hey, this is hard to do without praying. I mean, parenting is a big job. Hopefully, if you don't have children, you are understanding. God designed marriage to be more than functional. It's meant to be flourishing.
Right.
So it's not enough just, hey, we're staying married. That's a good start, but that's not enough. So when couples shift from merely surviving together to pursuing each other again, they rediscover not just partnership but passion.
I like this scripture that comes from Psalms from Solomon, and I'm just going to read it
Okay.
because it
Okay.
says, "Let him kiss me, and with the kisses of his mouth, for your love is more delightful than wine."
Okay.
Oh, I like that.
Okay.
That's Solomon,
Okay.
Songs of Solomon 1, 2. I think that's so beautiful. So it also goes to show you how important God thought this
Oh,
thing was,
wow.
you know, that
Wow.
we stay together as a team, that we're united front. He thought that was important, you know, and then bring these children in under that. Isn't that beautiful?
That is beautiful.
He's an awesome God, I tell you.
Let's talk about kind of divisions of labor. We touched on this a little bit earlier, but when the responsibilities of running a household, because here's the thing, and it doesn't, here's what I see. Tell me if you see. So we're both working. It's not a stay-at-home mom situation. We're both working, but oftentimes the husband comes home and still feels like these are my wife's responsibilities.
I've heard that.
Talk about that.
I've heard that many times. Absolutely. And that is not, I guess, a good place to, he has to understand he has the responsibility of this household, if that makes sense. In the sense of, if we want to go to the hierarchy, you can say this is how God designed man to be there, to be the protector, provider, priest of his home. And so anything that's needed in the household, really, he needs to be the one to say, you know, let me handle this, you know, whether it's delegated or whatever. But yeah, sometimes men feel like, okay, I've been at work all day, I'm exhausted, not considering that the wife has been at home, work all day, and she's exhausted. So we need to come to a good place to say, well, let's just, let's work on this. Let's look at what are the responsibilities of our home to make our home run, regardless of who's doing it. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. So when you were a stay-at-home mom, you were the primary homemaker, caregiver. But when we decided later, as the kids got older, you went back to school, got your master's, opened up your practice, marriage and family therapist. Now that we're both working, where early in our marriage, I lean more on you to do things. But now that we're both working, it's our responsibility. Hey, we both cook.
Yeah.
We both clean.
Right.
Both.
Right. I remember you saying you don't do dishes, but you did. You know,
Yeah, that ain't one of my. That's my least favorite.
Right.
thing.
You at least put them in the dishwasher.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was grateful for that.
That's a great example of, hey man, this ain't something I want to do, but hey, we both out here now.
That's right.
You know, so I can't put all that on my wife. I've got to bear some of this responsibility.
Absolutely.
So a lot of things that you don't want to do, and that maybe at one season in your life you didn't do, but hey, things have changed now.
I often say, make the choice and handle it.
Often one partner feels overburdened while the other feels confused or criticized. Because now here's another thing. I wonder if this is a generalization or true. In our case, you seem to be unable, or it's harder for you to relax and let stuff go. Hey, the dishes are in the sink. Hey, get them tomorrow. You know, hey, this needs to be done. That's definitely you. Is that true, do you think, women, generally speaking, more than men?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's probably women more than men. Now, I've heard some men say they like certain things as well. It's like, you know, I guess how were you raised? You know,
don't get me wrong. I want all the dishes out of the sink. I want the house. Here's one of our favorite things. Hey, somebody's coming over, and we keep the house like this all the time because we like it like this. So I love that. But at the same time, being very intentional. Hey, now we're both tired. This can wait until tomorrow. But I don't know that you're able to go to bed with dishes in the sink.
I have, and I can.
Oh my gosh, really? When? Twice?
No, I have and I can. However, that is not my go-to. I wouldn't necessarily want to do that because I like to wake up in my kitchen in the morning and it's ready to go. It's clean. I'm ready.
Who doesn't like that?
Right. What I'm just saying, I can't be that relaxed and the dishes in the sink.
But what we're talking about is you can't do everything all the time. That's the point we're making.
I know it.
We're talking about being overburdened. Okay. and typically in this example, while one person feels overburdened, through their eyes, the other person ain't doing nothing. So not only
And we have to really watch that, because a lot of say, like you say, that's something that is in me. You didn't require or ask for me to be that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's in my mind that I need to be that way.
Yeah.
So you have to really be aware of your own self to say, I'm driving myself. Because sometimes I have a couple and I'll say, well, he didn't say that, did he? He didn't say that. She said, well, I just thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm thinking, well, no.
And we say you have a
you
couple
are driving.
in the counseling center when you're counseling.
Right.
Okay,
You're
gotcha.
driving yourself. He's not requiring or asking you to do some of these things, but you're driving yourself. So be aware of that.
So what does it actually look like when you have that imbalance? Like one partner becomes the default parent, one person's the default planner. There's unspoken resentment about who does more. Task management replaces emotional connection.
Yeah.
So
and we definitely have to bring it down a notch.
So coaching insight.
Okay.
You know, we got the football analogy going, got my coaching hat on. What's the coaching insight for how do you...
So relationships thrive when both partners feel seen, valued, and supported, not just in romance, but in responsibility. Open conversations and shared expectations are key.
And you reference the scripture when you talk about that. Galatians 6:2, carry each other's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ. Okay, Teresa, coaching insight. Let's move to kind of emotional exhaustion. When we're talking about parenting, we're talking about the challenges, the danger signs of parenting, as great as it is. We're talking about how you need to be very intentional about this. So we live in a fast-paced, overstimulated world. What does that mean to us as parents?
So sometimes our emotional bandwidth is just stretched too thin.
Okay.
You know, work, stress, caregiving, unresolved trauma in our own lives, possibly, or mental fatigue. You know, all that leads to an individual emotional unavailability. They're not available, even to the one they love the most.
Wow.
You know, it could to get to that.
So here's the thing: don't let children be a disrupt. Well, they are disruptors, but
not a negative disruptor.
Thank you, Teresa.
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't let children be an uncontrolled disruptor.
Right.
They are a disruptor. That's a decision that you should have factored in. Hopefully you did factor in when you decided that you're going to have children. So, but you just got to manage the disruption is kind of what we're saying. Because disconnection or numbness during conversations, we don't want that, right? We don't.
And I wanted to bring out, usually this happens because of fear. You know,
explain what.
I guess the allowing the kids to be a disruptor to the negative side is because of fear. You fear that I got to do all this for the kids because they need this, but also you've got to think about I have a spouse as well.
Now you didn't say this, but you know where my mind went when you were talking.
What?
Have you seen couples who make children little idols?
Yeah. I see it all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
What does it look like?
Well, it looks like you just focus on everything. You want the kid, you just build the kid. And you're not even concerned about what the spouse needs. You know, it's just total focused on the kid. And it really, really leads where the kid is, I guess they're a little too self-focused.
Huh. Okay, now I don't know if this was part of what we're going to talk about, but when you say that, it makes me think about activities for our children as parents. Do you have any advice on our 4 children participated in various extracurricular things? We're big fans of that. What would your advice be about that?
What do you mean? Allowing them to...
Well, how do you keep it manageable? So how do you keep a balance? You got 4 children. They're involved in soccer, basketball, football, you know, whatever other extracurricular. How do you balance? How would you counsel somebody to balance that?
Well,
how did we balance it?
Well, you figure out, you really need to check in with the child. You know, what is it that the child really, really likes to do? and
before
go
you put them in stuff.
before you put them in
Good
stuff.
point.
But now sometimes, like I say, as a young child, you put them in several things because to see what their talent or whatever is.
Okay.
But then you make a decision. Okay, since we have 4 kids, each of you can have one activity, and then doing your best in that activity is the goal.
Okay.
Even though you might be good at all of them, which one do you truly want to do?
So, oldest daughter, I remember this, oldest daughter, Madison, was really, really good at soccer. And I remember, now, Madison went to college on a basketball scholarship, but she was probably better at soccer. I remember when somebody came to me one time and asked about her playing select soccer, travel soccer. So I said, okay, let me count the costs. Explain to me how this works. Well, and we were living in Mississippi at the time. Okay, so next weekend we play in Baton Rouge. Then the weekend after that we're in Dallas. And then the weekend after that we're in Louisville. And then stop right there. No, we won't be playing selection. Now, Jim, you're not supporting your daughter? Sure, I'm supporting my daughter, but the main focus is the good of the entire family. And sometimes we had to make decisions that were best for the family. And I don't think Madison suffered by not playing select soccer.
Oh, absolutely not.
But
she really liked basketball.
Yeah, but that's an example of kind of how we manage. You talk about couples need to learn to recognize emotional burnout and create rhythms of rest, replenishment, and safe emotional space. You want to add anything to that?
No, that's pretty clear.
Okay.
That's pretty clear.
Okay.
Pretty clear.
Lack of, oh my gosh, one of my favorites. Lack of intentional time together. Go. What do you want to say?
So love doesn't sustain itself. It must be nurtured.
I thought all we needed was love. That's what they say. That's what the song said. That's what the song said.
No.
Okay.
It has to be nurtured. When a couple stop carving out time for each other, connection weakens. Time together often becomes task focus. Well, we need to talk about a bill, or we need to talk about the kids, or something like that, instead of heart focused. I call it heart focused.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So there's no regular date nights, so if you're sitting out there with the parents of young children, or maybe not so young children, and a lot of this has resonated with you, some questions you might want to ask. When's the last time we had regular date night?
Or just private
or
time
just some
together.
private time together?
Yeah.
What about being physically fit together? Some people are physically fit together but emotionally distant. So, spending time, gaming on your phones. Hey, it's my favorite time of the year. It's fall. It's college football season.
I know it.
And
like I say, that's just a season. But even then, you can invite each other to be together.
Here's something else you talk about that I want us to go a little bit deeper. Couples who prioritize everything, kids, work, ministry, except us. Then later, I'm sure you've seen this, the kids are grown and gone. Now it's just us, but we crumble apart because we built our whole thing around the kids. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I've seen that many times, where everything is focused in on the kids, and then the relationship was not.
What did the couple think they were doing? They thought they were doing the right thing?
Well, like I said, once again, the fear was driving. I think fear was driving, and fear was saying, the kids need this, the kids need that. They need to be able to keep up and whatever, versus this is good for the kids, let's go for it, but we also have to have time for ourselves. And once again, like I say, it really does help the kids if they see that division there. When I say division with this is important as well. You are important, yes, children. However, me and my husband, the partnership is important as well.
Got you. So 3 challenges: division of labor, emotional exhaustion, and lack of intentional time. Those are not signs of failure. They're invitations to realign, reconnect, and reprioritize the relationship.
Yes. I used to tell a couple when they come, I would say, I'm glad you're here. I'm sorry you had to come, but I'm glad you're here because this gives you an opportunity to make life so much better. So let's look at those things. So yes, just as you said, let's realign, reconnect, reprioritize this relationship.
So I don't know if this is what you were saying, but it's almost like when a couple comes in for therapy, it's like, unfortunately, they're being forced at this point, but it's like they're taking time just for them at that point.
They are, and that's why I thank them. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about some strengthening strategies. So here's some things we can do to protect the couple bond, intimacy, while parenting. In other words, how can we keep the home fires burning while dealing with, 2, 3, 4, or one child? You suggest couples schedule regular check-ins that have nothing to do with the kids.
Oh, absolutely.
What does that look like? Hey, Teresa, tell me, walk me through it.
Well, I would just say just checking in, you could just checking on on each other, that's what it could be something at work. It could be something just with really the individual themselves.
So instead of
like dealing with something,
I call you, Teresa, what's going on with the kids? How are the kids doing? I call you, how are
you doing? Yes. How are you managing this or that? Not necessarily talking about the children.
And even if something's going on with the children, a heightened, stressful situation, it's good to take time to pause and say, in the midst of this, how are you doing? Okay, I got what you're saying. Reclaim simple moments of affection, a 10-second hug, eye contact.
Yes.
That's important. Plan monthly date nights or couch dates after bedtime. Oh, speaking of bedtime, this is another potentially problematic situation. Many of you are dealing with, and I remember dealing with, the fight over bedtime. And you know what I started saying to the kids?
What?
Daddy, I'm not sleepy. I don't want to go to bed. So this was a role reversal. Yeah. See, but I'm sleepy and I want to go to bed. That's why you're going to bed.
I like that.
And the whole thing was,
that too.
This was kind of how we rolled at our house. This ain't about you. I had so many little sayings I would say to the kids. Now these are as they got older, right?
Yeah.
So you don't like. I
didn't like them. No, I didn't.
But hey, one of my sayings was.
But I did like when you say, "Well, I'm sleepy." That one.
One of my sayings was. Now this was not little small kids. These were like teenager kids. Hey guys, you living with me? I ain't living with you.
My name on the mailbox.
My name on the mailbox, not yours. These were constant little sayings. I mean, I tried to constantly reinforce, as much as we did for our kids, I tried to constantly reinforce, this ain't just all about you.
Right.
Okay. So we talk about sharing parenting responsibility to prevent one partner from being overwhelmed. We already talked about praying regularly together. We time versus me time, finding the right balance. Okay. Go, Teresa. Help me with that.
Okay. So we time. So, I think it's so important that we as a couple have our time. That's an intentional time. We have quality time spending just time together in which fosters all the things that we've talked about, the connection,
emotional intimacy.
Yes, all of that. So it fosters that. But it's also good to have that personal time, me time, where you have your personal space, you have some rest time, you have your own kind of hobbies and things you do, just some solitude time or whatever. All of that is important for your own personal growth. So I think we time, and me time are very important. And just like I've told couples also, it's good for you guys to be together as couples. It's also good for him to be with the guys. It's also good for her to be with the ladies or girls. And that's helping you grow in the relationship. It's helping you keep your own personal self in a good place to continue to build the relationship.
So healthy marriages need both me time and we time, not in competition, but in balance.
Yes.
Now, and then you talk a little bit about the risk of too much we time. Is that a risk?
Well, it can be.
Okay.
Let's just say while togetherness is important, neglecting individual space can lead to other problems, and that's what we don't want.
It seems to be counterintuitive or contradictory to what we did. You and I still spend, and certainly throughout our marriage, there have been times we spent every waking moment together. We live and sleep together. We've opened businesses together, so we've gotten up and gone to the same office together. And especially when the early years of getting this off the ground, we've gotten up, gone to work, come back home, There have been times when we've been around each other 24 hours a day, days and days upon end, to the point where people used to say this, you remember? Because a lot of people didn't know we were married, like in the office, right? People that would come in from outside the office, and they would go like, how do y'all do this? So we seem to have managed we time well, but I don't know if you did it so much, but I would still make sure I had me time.
It was only for a season where we were just grinding,
Yeah.
but we always pulled away and have some me time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we did
But we don't want it to go, I guess, too far.
We have spent a lot of time, but here's the point. You can't pour into your relationship if your cup is empty.
Correct.
Each partner needs time to reflect, pray, pursue, purpose, and recharge. I know, like for me, my mornings are my protected time. That's my devotional time. That's my prayer time. And I, even as a new younger father, because I had my place in the house where I always went. The kids seeing that, I noticed most of them, and I've never asked them this question. Most of them have a devotional habit that they keep. I wonder how much of that was born in what they actually saw.
I don't know.
We ought to ask that question sometime.
We will.
Now, we talk about the risk of too much me time. On the flip, I see that. I see that. So on the flip side, when couples prioritize independence over intimacy, they risk emotional distance.
Correct. And they go back to that roommate or parallel living dynamic, and you don't want that.
They lose the relational glue that holds them together. Now, you referenced the scripture, two are better than one. If either of them falls, one can help the other up. Relationships thrive when partners choose each other regularly, not out of obligation, but out of investment and intention.
I totally agree with that.
So a healthy balance looks like me time is respected, but not at the cost of connection. It's not all me. We time is prioritized, but not so much that individuality is lost. Both are scheduled and valued, not left to chance. And some practical ways to balance both. We already talked about schedule we time.
Right. Honor personal routine for like we said, we talked about prayer, we talked about rest, hobbies, and solitude. Solitude is something that we don't do enough of. I agree, not because of our fast-paced world, because of everything that we deal with every day, and there's the computer, the iPhones, all of that, all the different social medias or whatever. We don't get out and do that solitude thing. It don't have to be out, but solitude is so important because you get a time to reflect.
You remember the study we did on spiritual disciplines? So solitude is one of the journaling, prayer time, solitude. I can't remember.
All those are,
spiritual disciplines.
Yeah.
Okay, so some check-ins. Are you feeling seen, both as my partner and as a person? Give each other guilt-free space and also guilt-free togetherness. And some final thoughts. Me time makes you whole. We time, on the other hand, makes you one.
Absolutely. And that's what that's what we thrive to do, is have that oneness.
And marriage isn't about choosing one over the other. It's about learning how to hold space for both. When couples honor each other's needs for connection and restoration, they build a partnership that's emotionally rich, spiritually grounded, and relationally resilient.
Yes, resilient. Absolutely.
In summary, parenting as a team and presenting a united front, same team, same jersey. I'm big on that.
I see that.
Same team,
Keep
same
saying
jersey. When couples present a united front, they approach parenting with shared purpose. I remember the first time I knew, nobody went over this with us. We're talking to our younger selves. I remember the first time I knew we need to present a united front. You remember what happened?
Yeah, kids were trying to play us against each other.
I'm sitting out there in the garage doing something. Kids were small. Kids come outside. Can we go down the house to Billy's house? Not his real name. Sure. Whatever questions I ask, sure, you can go to Billy's house. 10 minutes later, you come outside. Where are the kids? They're down at Billy's house.
I just told them they couldn't go.
I just told them they couldn't go.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what's going on here. Okay. So that led me to two of my most famous words in our marriage.
Family meeting.
Family meeting. Family meeting. Because when something would come up, let's address it now so we don't have to address it the rest of our marriage, the rest of our
And we can't hold them accountable if we haven't addressed it.
That's exactly right. So family meeting, guys, here's a don't do. Here's a non-priority. The next time you ask one of us for an answer, you get an answer, then go to the other one in an effort to get a different answer, you're in trouble. Mm-hmm. You're in trouble. So in our parenting style, you have to teach and disciple before you can punish or discipline.
That's right. So
when something like that would happen, again, I'm big on family meeting. Let's call time out and address this. Let's sit down and teach, and train, because you can't hold people accountable for what you haven't taught and trained them on.
Absolutely. That's correct.
But that's the whole idea behind presenting a united front. Mm-hmm. There were other family meeting things, like when I would get home, when you were a stay-at-home mom and I would come home, sometimes you'd have rough days.
Yes.
With 4 kids there. And so those were family meeting times. Okay, guys, look. Because one of the things that I noticed that you were doing, and I don't know if any of you guys are doing this, but I talked to you about, don't threaten the kids with me.
That's true.
Because what
I learned better.
What Teresa started doing was like, when your daddy get home, you're in trouble. So now you had kids looking out the window. Maybe daddy won't make it today. Maybe dad won't make it home. You know what I mean? So, because you're told when your daddy get home, you're in trouble. So I was like, hey, Teresa, don't threaten the kids with me. And then the other thing we had, talking about me time and we time, because you were doing this and we were just learning, guys, right? We didn't know any better. As my foot hit the inside of the door, you would unload.
I sure would, baby. Had some things to say.
Because you've been there. I get it. You've been there all day, not really an adult conversation. Mm-hmm. And so one of the agreements we had to come to, okay, Teresa, here's the deal. When I walk in the door, give me time to decompress.
Yes.
And later I kind of amended that to like, let me sit in the car, let me sit in the garage and decompress before I even walk in the door. But we actually had this conversation. Give me time to decompress. Now, but here's the promise. I promise you we are going to talk about it. Mm-hmm. And I don't mean next week.
Yeah.
It's got to be a reasonable time period, but just give me a minute. And then let the kids revel in daddy's home, not like I'm in trouble.
Right. I agree.
So those are some things we have to talk about.
Little stuff like that.
But go ahead.
But no, I just wanted to say, if a house is divided against itself, the house cannot stand. That is.
You know what you're saying, Teresa?
What am I saying?
Same team, same jersey.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what you're saying.
So just tell them why all of this really matters, honey. Tell them why this is so important. This united front, this us being bonded together, and just tell us, I guess.
Children feel more secure.
Okay.
Because children thrive on structure, predictability, and boundaries. You remember the story about the nursery, the daycare that was butted up to a highway, a busy street. Mm-hmm. And so the kids would stay really, really far away from the busy street because that's how they'd been taught, conditioned, because there was traffic.
Right.
So one day they came in and built a fence around the entire yard. You know what happened then?
No, tell me.
The kids went to the very end of the boundary, the fence, mm-hmm. and they would play using the whole yard. So boundaries aren't restrictive. Boundaries are freeing.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
I know it's kind of like rules. Rules are, when God says no, he's saying don't hurt yourself. Mm-hmm. When God says don't do, he's saying don't hurt yourself. And when God says go, he's saying help yourself. Yes. So children feel more secure because they thrive on structure, predictability, and boundaries. Mm-hmm. When parents are aligned, children feel safe knowing expectations are consistent and trustworthy.
Trustworthy.
Okay, why else does this matter being not divided?
So it kind of reduces manipulation or divide and conquer behavior.
Okay.
Does it make sense?
It makes perfect sense.
If a child has a sense of division
among us, among parents,
right,
mm-hmm.
they exploit it. Asking one parent after the other, or pitting them against each other, causing problems.
Exactly. Because they're a little troublemakers.
Yeah, a little manipulative.
Exactly.
I'm here with that.
Exactly. It also models respect and unity. Mm-hmm. Children learn relational skills by watching their parents. Think about that. That's deep.
That is deep.
Now,
so important.
Does that frighten you or encourage you? Children learn relational skills by watching their parents. When you think about that, are you frightened or is it freeing?
Absolutely.
I don't know.
I hope it's freeing.
When they see cooperation, negotiation, and respect, they internalize those traits in their own relationship.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
What else?
We want to protect the marital bond. That's our bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
Protect the marital bond. Constant disagreements about parenting can divide the wedge between partners, and we don't
drive a wedge.
I mean,
it can divide and drive
a wedge.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Gotcha.
Presenting a united front reinforces partnership, respect, and just good partnership and togetherness.
Let's, Teresa, really quickly give parents some tips, some strategies to strengthen unity. Discuss discipline plans privately.
Yeah, do that.
Affirm one another publicly.
Mm-hmm. Set shared goals and boundaries.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Pray together for wisdom.
Okay.
And back each other up.
Oh my gosh.
That's so important, isn't it?
That's so important.
It is.
That's so important. Here's the final thought. You're not just raising children, you're building a legacy. When couples parent as a team, they lay a foundation of emotional security, mutual respect, and lasting connection. Presenting a united front doesn't mean you always agree, but it means you're committed to leading together.
Yes.
So here is the whole point as we talk about building a legacy, parenting as a team, and building a foundation. This is really, really hard to do as it is. We think it's impossible to do without bringing Jesus into this relationship. So what we did, what we encourage you to do is to form a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. It makes life not perfect, not without pain, but it makes the imperfections and the pain bearable.
Yes.
And we don't think we could be effective parents unless we look to God, our Father, for leadership and direction and examples of how to parent. That would be our counsel to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Something you could do to help us get this message out about marriage, about God's plan for marriage, about relationships, is when you like, share, and subscribe on various social platforms, it helps spread the reach. If you find value in this message, please share it with somebody, mention it to a friend. Hey, do you listen to Marriage with Jim and Teresa? Let me share this episode with you. So by you sharing, and subscribing, it'll magnify the voice, it'll amplify the voice of the message that we feel like we're called to share. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next week.